All right. So let me give you the history on this. Okay. Um, this is called this is my Monday morning full timers, right? It's a business builders report. The history of this type of report stems all the way back from when I was at Northwestern Mutual. Somebody's unmuted. If you can mute yourself, there's all kinds of noise in the background. Um, the history of this report stems all the way back to Northwestern Mutual when I first got started heavily in this industry. We had a meeting every Monday morning and believe it or not, it was at 7:30 a.m. And if you were late, you had to put $50 in the jar, and you could not attend that week. If you were late, you had to put $50 in the jar. You could not attend that week. If you missed it, you had to put $100 in the jar, and obviously you didn't attend that week, right? And every single week we'd have this at a local level. And then once a month, I would drive down to the district level and someone would look at my numbers from a monthly view. This is a weekly view, and there was a monthly view, right? You had to qualify to get into this. This wasn't open for everybody. And maybe that might be something that we can look into in the future, is making it more of a qualifiable thing. But we really need to focus right now on really finding the soldiers, finding the leaders that really want to make this happen. But all it is, it's an analytical meeting. What we're not doing in this meeting, we're not going to say, hey, tell me about this particular case. Tell me what's happening with this particular case. Tell me what's happening with this particular person. That's not what this meeting is about in any way, shape, or form. This is about the analytics of your business, numbers only. Okay. So this column right here represents the Monday, the date, the calendar. Okay. This column right here represents the days worked. I want to know, did you work 3 days? Did you work 4 days? Did you work 5 days? Did you work 6 days? I want to know how many days you worked, because that also, that pattern tells a story. And here's another thing I'm going to tell you about this before I continue on. It takes a solid 5 to 6 weeks of you posting your numbers before we really start to find the patterns. And if you do it 1 week, but you don't do it another, you do it 1 month, you don't do it another, you're never going to get a grip of your numbers. Your numbers are so crucial to you. When you could figure out how many phone calls you have to make $1,000, when you could figure out how many meetings you have to have in order to close a deal, when you could figure out how many closing appointments you need to have based on your fact-finding meetings to close your deals. Once you figure out those numbers, you could say to yourself, okay, if I want to make $200,000 a year, this is the activity I need to do based on my numbers. And the two things that I can control throughout the years, I could try to become a little bit more efficient, but I can always control the volume of my numbers. For example, if, I'll give you a rough-edged example. If every 40 calls makes me $1,000, right, and I want to make $100,000, then I got to take 100,000 divided by 40. That means I got to make 2,500 calls. Wait, is that right? 40 calls times 2,500. Yeah, right. I got to make 2,500 calls, right? How do I do that? How did I figure that out? I have to do my numbers in order to figure out how many calls it takes to make $1,000. I'm just give you an example. If I did 6 weeks worth of my analytics and it turned out that every 40 calls I make $1,000, I know that I got to do 2,500 calls in a year to make $100,000. So now I can say to myself, okay, well, there's 52 weeks in a year, 2,500. Am I going to work all 52 weeks? No. Let's just say I'm only going to work 50 weeks of the 52 because I'm going to take a 2-week vacation with my family. So 2,500 calls divided among 50 weeks worth of work, right? Means I got to do 50 calls a week, right? Now, obviously these numbers are, exaggerated, but, now I know. Now I know I got to do 50 calls every single week if I'm only working 50 weeks a year to walk away making 100 grand. If I want to make 200 grand, guess what I got to do? I got to make 100 calls a week, right? Again, your numbers tell you a story of your business. It tells you your strength. It tells you your weaknesses. You got to make the decision to actually do it. You got to make the decision to do it if you really want to treat your business like a business. I tell you, me for sure. I do not look at you as a true business professional if you're not willing to post your numbers. If you're not willing to post your numbers and do your numbers, this is a hobby. 100%, this is just a hobby, and that's okay. I got plenty of people where this is just a hobby too. That's okay. I'm 100% okay. And I'll tell you something else as well too, for the builders and the recruiters. Just because your downlines don't treat it like a business doesn't mean you don't have a business. If you post your numbers, I don't care if you got 10, 20 people that are treating it like a hobby. You have a business. Your business might be filled with 20 hobbyers, but you still have a business. And now you got to figure out, okay, how many part-time hobby agents do I need to make $250,000? And you can figure out those analytics. You can figure out those analytics and those analytics. Here's what's great about being an entrepreneur and being in the insurance industry. Your downlines and your uplines don't control the velocity of your business. They have a percentage of it. I'm not going to say that they don't. They have a percentage of it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the number one catalyst that determines success or failure in your business, you know what it is? You. It's 100% you. 100% you. You know, I'll give you an example. Early this year, I had somebody hit me up that was looking to come on board TKO. This guy was a player. He was a player in the industry, making $650,000 a year kind of guy, right? Fairly decent sized team. And we probably sat for 3 months talking back and forth, you know, looking to make the move, pull the plug. You know what ended up happening? He decided not to come on board, right? Other things came up, other business ventures came up. He decided to focus more of his attention on a different industry. And so I could look at that and I could go, man, I just lost a huge guy, right? I just lost a whale. This guy would have changed the game to TKO, And perhaps he might have, but I have to control what I can control, right? And here's the best part about distribution. Maybe him and his agency do the same amount of work, the same amount of quality, same amount of volume that takes 6 other agents to do, right? Maybe that's the case. You know what I need to do now? I just need to get 7 agents because I have an infinite distribution. Is he valuable? Of course he is. But if 7 guys can do more than one of him, then I just got to get 7. And the moment I get 7, now my business is doing more than it would have done if it would have just been him. Because why? Because it's a distribution business. It's a distribution business. When I feel like my agency is going flat, you know what I got to do? I got to pump in new blood. I got to pump in new licensed agents that are active, hungry, wanting to go out to the field. Why do I say that? That shows you what I'm explaining to you. Your downlines, your uplines, and your sidelines, although they all impact your business in a way, right? They will never impact your business nearly as much as you and your mindset, what's in between your ears and your ability to work and drive. I will never allow uplines to control the velocity of my business. I'll never allow downlines to control the velocity of my business. And that's the way you should treat it. But you got to track your numbers to figure out what that is. You got to track your numbers to figure out what that is. So let me get back to it. What exactly is Business Builder, right? So days of the week, I want to know what your habits are. How many days of the week are you working? No, you don't want to count one meeting on one day as a day worked. No, you don't. You don't. I'll tell you right now, I work 6 days a week right now. 6 days a week. My 7th day, which is Sunday, I spend it with my family, I spend it in my faith, and I take a couple hours every single Sunday, just kind of look at my numbers and prep for the very next week. But I don't count it as a worked day. Even if I have one meeting on Sunday, I won't count it as a work day. That's just a little bonus meeting, right? Money spent on leads. I want to know how much money you're spending on leads. Because if you're coming to me telling me I have nobody to call, I'm not making any money, I'm going to say, well, are you prospecting and getting referrals? No. Well, how many leads are you buying? Nothing. Okay, you have nobody to call because you're not getting numbers. You're not getting numbers, so you're not getting up and going to get it. You either go up to go get it, or you take out your bank, you take out your wallet and you buy it. But you got to spend money on leads. You got to. The other thing that I want to look at is if you're spending a lot of money on leads, right? Oh my God, I'm spending $1,000 a week, $1,000 a week. Okay, so now your dials, which is this column right here, should be ridiculously high. If the dials are very low, but you spend a lot of money on leads, again, you're setting yourself up for failure. I need to see those numbers. I need to see how all of these numbers affect each other in a way, a positive way or a negative way. I need to see your numbers, right? Total leads purchased. I want to know, are you buying age leads? Are you buying exclusive leads? Are you spending too much money? Are you spending too little money? All of these numbers matter. They correlate to your business, right? What's this column right over here? Total field meetings you asked for referrals. If you have 10 meetings a week, but you're asking one time for referrals, I need to know that. I need to know that number because now you have a leak that I need to focus on. I need to figure out why you're not asking for referrals. Are you forgetting? Are you afraid? What's going on? Are you really having 10 meetings? Maybe you're not having 10 meetings. Maybe you're counting a drop by at an office where you drop the business card as a meeting. I need to know that. That data tells me information, right? Total number of referrals obtained. right? So now if you're asking, how many are you getting? Again, same scenario. If you're hosting 10 meetings and you're asking 8 out of those meetings, but out of the 8 meetings that you ask for referrals, only one of them is giving you lead referrals, I need to work on your referral script. There's a leak there. It doesn't take 8 times of you asking to get one person to answer. I need to figure out what's going on with that leak. That should be more of a 50-50. That should be more of a, hey, I asked 8 times, 4 people gave me names and numbers. Now I need to figure out what that is. I need to figure out what the leak is. Let's work on your script. Let's work on how you're asking. Let's work on the time that you're asking. There's something there that you're doing. I need to know that, right? Total prospects obtained. Total prospects is more like that social media number, right? If you're out in the community prospecting or if you're on social media prospecting, that's where you put that number right there, right? So for my social media people, that's what that is right there. If you're knocking, not knocking on doors, that would have cut there. Total leads from top 25s. Why is that important? Because if you're a builder and you're not getting top 25s, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So when you say, well, listen, I hosted 5 recruiting interviews, I onboarded 4 people, and I got 0 top 25s, there's something wrong there. There's something wrong there, guys. And here's what listen, I'll tell you right now. A top 25 to me doesn't necessarily have to mean their own natural market. Top 25 to me is, did you get a natural market of 25, or did you at least get that person to purchase 25 leads? Because if your downline's purchasing leads, that's valuable to your business. That's more field meetings, that's more calls to make, that's more joint work, that's more of that. I need to know what this is right here, right? Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll even change the name. Top total leads obtained, total leads from new agent, top 25, or leads bought. There you go. That way you don't get confused on it, right? Now I want to know how many dials you did, right? So everything here right now, if you notice, everything from here was obtaining numbers. Everything about here was obtaining numbers. How much money did you spend on getting numbers? How many numbers did you get? How many times did you ask for referrals? What was the total amount of referrals you got? How many prospect numbers did you get? How many top 25s or leads did you get your downline? Everything here is about how many numbers you and your organization got. Now, what's the next column? What activity did you do with those numbers? How many times did you dial the phone? How many people answered the phone? How many appointments did you schedule? So dials, how many times did you pick up the phone and let that phone ring? Reached, how many people answered the phone where you said hello and pitched? And then out of the people you pitched, how many appointments did you schedule? And out of the appointments you scheduled, how many of them were one-on-one field meetings and how many of them were invited to the BOM? I need to know those numbers. If you're making 100 calls, 10 people are answering, there's something wrong with the time of day that you're calling. There's something wrong with your list. There's something wrong. If you're dialing 100 times and only 10 people are answering, that number's off. You should dial 40 and get 10 answers. So if you're dialing 100, you should get at least 25 people to answer. A quarter of your people should answer how many dials you do. Now this number to this number, right? How many people I reached versus how many I set should be about a 50-50 ratio, right? With referrals, with prospects, with warm markets. With leads, it should be more about a 30-70 ratio. So again, if I'm reaching 100 people and I'm working leads, I should probably schedule 30. If I'm reaching 100 people and I'm working referrals, I should schedule 50, right? I need to know that. That's important. That's important. And now, right, everything over here has to do with what? Your dialing activity. Now everything over here has to do with your appointments. So out of the appointments you scheduled, what happened with them? How many of them were recruiting interviews? How many of them were a BOM guest? How many of them were an orientation of a new associate? How many of them were a product presentation, like an initial fact finder, right? Initial, I'll write it right here, right? Fact finder. I'll put a little fact finder, FNA, however you want to call it, right? Out of the fact finders that you took, how many of them actually turned into an open case? You want to know why that's crucial? Just because you get a fact finder and people give you their facts and people give you their diamond analysis or people give you their retirement goals doesn't mean that it's a genuinely open case. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, right? Sometimes I do a fact finder, I'm like, listen, he needs insurance, but he ain't got no money and he's not interested in buying. That's not an open case. Sometimes I do a fact finder, I'm like, the guy's covered, he's good. I mean, we did his diamond analysis, he's got more than enough insurance, he's putting more than enough money away in his retirement account. He doesn't need our services. He doesn't need our services. So an open case doesn't mean you see an open case. An open case means you see it and the client sees it. So out of all your fact finders, how many of them turning into an open case? And then closing presentations. And a closing doesn't mean that you collected the check and you successfully closed. A closing for this particular column means that you made an attempt to collect the check. Whether you got the check or you didn't get the check is irrelevant, meaning you made an attempt. I presented an insurance product. I presented the annuity. I presented the pension, I presented it. Now it's on them to decide whether they want to do it or not. They might tell you, well, let me think about it. You still count that as a closing meeting. They might say, no, let's take applications. You count that as a closing meeting. I need to know what those ratios are. You want to know what the numbers are? I'll tell you what the numbers are. You should have 1.5 times more closes than the amount of cases open that you have. So if you have 10 open cases, you should have 15 closes. Why? Because not everybody's going to take action in their first meeting. Not everybody's going to take action in their first closing. I'm notorious about making sure that I have a 2-close meeting because I want to solidify it. If the person is real serious, they'll meet me a second time kind of scenario. Now, if I'm setting a term policy, quick term policy, listen, 1 meeting, no problem. But then again, too, if you have a 1-to-1 ratio, guess what I see in your business? You have a term life insurance business, and maybe you don't want just that. Maybe you want IULs, maybe you want annuities, maybe you want GULs. But if all you're doing is closing terms, because I see you have a 1-to-1 ratio, now I got to say, okay, wait a minute, what's going on with your fact finding? There's something wrong here. Are you doing quick fact finders? Like, are you getting quick dime analysis, showing term and getting in and out the door? Are you not comfortable presenting an IUL? Are you not comfortable asking if there's 401k money? Every single number tells a story about your business. Every single number here tells a story about your business. Positive and negative. There's always going to be places where I'm like, man, you're doing killer here. But look what I'm seeing over here. Look what I'm noticing over here. Things that you wouldn't think about are caught within your numbers. They're caught within your numbers. This column right here represents MMA hours, money-making activity hours. And there's a legend right here for you. Every 25 calls is 1 hour. Every 5 leads is 1 hour. Every appointment is 1.5 hours. Notice what I said, a lead. Every 5, let me change that piece. Every 5 referrals. Why do I say that? Because I don't want you to count the lead list that you bought as hours work. It takes 2 minutes to buy a lead list. No, every 25 calls that you physically make, every 5 referrals that you physically obtained, whether it's through prospecting or through asking for referrals, and every appointment you host. And that appointment is either, again, a recruiting interview, a BOM invite, an orientation on a new agent, a fact-finding meeting, or a closing meeting. Boom, boom, boom. Those are the hours. I want to know how many hours you spend doing that. If you're like, no, man, I was working all week, and I look and I'm like, you only got 5 MMA hours. What were you doing? Responding to emails, putting together cases, talking to underwriters? That's fine. That's stuff that you need to do. But now what that means is you're working in your business, not on your business. In your business is emails, underwriting, case design. That crap, excuse me, that gets done after the golden hours. That's not what you do during the day. During the day, you should be doing nothing but MMA hours, which is what? Calling people, finding numbers to call, or actually in a meeting with a person. Money-making activity. Money-making activity. That's the bread and butter. If you spend all your day just replying to emails and case designing and working underwriting and putting together this new marketing campaign or trying to figure out the best scripts, like, you're killing yourself. That stuff is important to do, but you do that later in the hours, guys. I'm not here to paint you a picture and tell you that you're going to make a 6-figure income working 20 hours a week. No. And if you work 40 hours a week on a full-time job, and you're working part-time over here, then that part-time hour that you're given needs to be even much more focused on MMA than anything else, because you're spinning your wheels and you're not making money. And I promise you, your family, you'll lose your family's respect in this business if you're not generating income. If you're not doing MMA, you're not generating income. You're not generating income at all, right? And then what's here? Results. How many new business partners did you obtain out of all the recruiting interviews that you hosted? Those two numbers correlate with each other. How many insurance applications did you take based on how many closing appointments did you attempt? I need those two numbers correlate with each other. If it takes you 10 closes to get one appointment, I need to work on your closing technique. But guess what? If somebody comes up over here and they're like, listen, I got 10 closes that I did and 9 people took applications. Listen, I want to learn from you. And I want the team to learn from you. I want to figure out what you're doing. You're doing something right. Right? This is a little ancillary income, right? Credit applications. Are you getting credit, for credit repair? Annual premium. What was the total amount of annual premium? Because guess what? If you're telling me you got 5 insurance applications, but your total premium is $500, I know you're selling some small itty bitty cases. What's going on? Oh, I'm selling the kid policies. Well, why aren't you selling the parent policies? Right? Or on the contrary, if I know you got 5 applications and it turned out to 20,000 of annual premium, wait, I want to know, is there one big giant case there, or are they all divided up evenly? Because if they're divided up evenly, you're in a really good market and you're a really good closer. Let's figure out what you're doing right so we can teach the rest of the people. And then your cash flow. You want to know why I want to know your cash flow? I'll tell you why. Knowing your cash flow is important. There's a trap in this business. A trap. The trap is when you ride a roller coaster. Here's what I mean by riding a roller coaster. You make a massive amount of income one week, and because you made a massive amount of income, the next 2 weeks, you decide not to work, not to clock in. You come in later, you take Fridays off, you don't buy leads, you're not hungry to rebuild your pipeline. Why? Because you just made 10 grand, 15 grand. And so what happens is you're coasting up here on the roller coaster until the crash, boom. And then when you crash, you're like, holy crap, I ran out of money, I spent it on, I have 0 pipeline. I want to know those patterns. If I see that 1 week you made 10 grand, and then the very next week you made 50 calls, I know what happened. You're too comfortable. And when I see 3 or 4 weeks where you're not making any money, and now I know you're going to be in desperation mode. I know that I need to calm your nerves so you're not crazy in trying to close business. Guys, every one of these numbers correlates with something. And this last column over here, how many appointments you have scheduled for the next week? I don't like to leave a week without having appointments scheduled for the next week. If my goal is to schedule 40 appointments next week, I want to leave Saturday knowing that out of the 40 I need to schedule next week, at least 10 of them are already scheduled. I want to know that that's called having a follow-up business, a follow-up business, a follow-up business, a follow-up business. Because the people that you take fact finders on Fridays and Saturdays are probably going to be closes next week. Follow-up business, follow-up businesses. You're unemployed every moment you don't have a meeting. And I don't like to leave a Saturday. I don't like to leave on a Saturday knowing that next week I'm unemployed and I got to get up and bust my tail. I don't like that. And what should your calendar look like then? Simple. Mondays and Thursdays are dialing days. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays are field days. You dial on Monday to schedule Tuesday, Wednesday. You dial on Thursday to schedule Friday, Saturday. And every day at the end of the day, you have a posting and planning. You have a half hour at the end of the day where you update all these numbers. Update all your numbers. And every one of these right here, this is 1 week. This is the second week. That's a third week. That's a fourth week. That's a fifth week, right? So every one of these little columns here represents a week. And on Mondays, you're here bright and early at 10 a.m. with your numbers updated so we can look at your numbers. We can break them down. We can break them down. As simple as that. As simple as that, guys. This was huge to me in business. This was huge to me in business, guys. You want to know one thing that I pay so much tribute to my success in this business was when I finally stopped playing around with my business and I treated it like a business. When I stopped playing around and stopped guessing my business and I stopped, oh, I kind of worked today. I kind of didn't. Oh, no. When I started treating it like a business, I started looking at my numbers every single day like a business. I had an end of day meeting with myself, a posting and planning meeting. And if you're working with your spouse, you have an end of day meeting with her as well, or him as well. And you look at your numbers and you figure out, this is what we did good today. This is what we did good. This is what we did bad on. This is how we can adjust it. You don't wait till Sunday night to update all these numbers. You don't, because you're not going to have that great of a memory to capture everything. And you don't look at your business only every single Monday. On Mondays, you allow somebody else outside of you to look at your business and inspect your business. You let me inspect your business. But you got to look at your business at the end of every single day and go, okay, listen, the goal this week was 500 calls. We're midway through the week. We've only done 150. We got to play some catch up here. Let's go. Or on an opposite, right? A builder or someone who really wants to change the game could say, hey, the goal was 500 calls this week. We're only into Tuesday. And we're already 400 calls in. Why don't we up that goal from 500 to 800, increase our income and do more out of it? You know, flex a little bit. You can't flex what you don't know. You can't improve what you don't see. Guys, this is not about sight. This is about vision. This is not about sight. Business builder is not about sight. It's about vision. Sight is, well, here's my numbers. Here's what I have. I don't care about that. I want to see the vision. I want to be able to tell you where your business is going before you see it getting there. I want to tell you your business is headed downhill. You're falling off a cliff. Or listen, your business is headed to exactly where you want to go. I'm sure everybody here would agree that if I could point you in the direction with that where you get a chance to go to the path you want to go instead of going downhill towards freaking turmoil and failure, you'd want me to course correct you pretty quickly, wouldn't you? I can't do that if I don't see your business. That's what Monday Morning Full Timers is all about. That's what it's all about. So I'm telling you now, if you're on this training today, or if you're watching this video, here's my commitment to you. I will give you honest, sincere coaching on a consistent basis. I will give you honest, sincere coaching, especially on Monday Full Timers. You've got to make a decision. You've got to make a decision to display your business to me on a weekly basis consistently. Don't join full timers if you're going to be on 1 week, off the other. Don't join full timers if the excuse every time you're going to have is, oh, some things got in the way, my family this, my family that, or my other job this, my other job that, or I couldn't post on my, like, don't give me that. Don't give me that crap. Don't give me that crap. Don't. It's okay if you want to run a part-time operation. There's nothing wrong with that. Monday Morning Full Timers is not for the part-timers. Monday Morning Full Timers is for the genuine players that want to run $1 million operation. That's what this meeting is about. And anybody who wants to run that type of operation cannot continue to limit themselves based on whatever personal excuses they want to make. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen that way. Success and easy streamline, they will never go together. They'll never go together. Success and obstacles, hurdles, challenges, late night struggles, accountability, all of that goes together if you want success. All of it goes together. And you'll be paid 10 times over again later for the work you're doing now. 10 times over again later for the work you're doing now. But you got to be willing to do it. So I say this to you again. Don't reach out to me. Don't send me a private message. Tony, I just saw this video. I want to be a part of Monday Business Builder, but then you're not going to be present. You're not going to be on time for Monday Morning Business Builder. You're not going to post your numbers. You'll post it 1 week, not the other. Oh, I had a bad week. If a bad day at home is going to be the difference between you posting your numbers and not posting your numbers, listen, stay home. Don't. It's okay. Come to general training Monday nights. Come to general training Saturdays. You need me for joint work, I'm here for you. No problem. You want me to be your cheerleader and rah you? I'll do it. No problem. I guarantee you I'll do it. You don't want to hear me criticize a single thing about your business? I promise you, don't join full timers. Don't come to Business Builders on Mondays. Don't. I know in TKO, not everybody's gonna take my suggestion and join Monday Morning Business Builder. I know. I'm not expecting everybody to. I'm not. I'm expecting there to be 75 to 80% of the people that are just kind of part-time in it. Make a few thousand here, make a few thousand there, make 5,000 for the year, 10,000 for the year, 20,000 for the year. A couple of people make 40, 50, 60, 80, and 80,000 a year. Cool. That's not what Business Builder is about. Business Builder is the ones that say, hey, I want to make $100,000 my first year in this industry. I want to do it part-time. Hey, next year I want to make $250,000. I'm ready. I want to prove to my family that I'm the it guy or the it gal. I want to prove to my family that I'm going to break the generational curse. Like that's what this is about. So don't join this if you're not ready to give that commitment, because you're going to go through a shit ton of struggle. You're going to go through a shit ton of bad weeks. You're going to go through a shit ton of, criticism from me, but the result's going to be a better business, a better you, a better income, a better everything. And I'm going to get you to that goal, because that's 100% what I pay tribute to in reference to my success in this industry was my ability to stop looking at it as a game My ability stopped looking at it as a pretend business, a part-time gig, and I started looking at it like a business that could pay me multiple millions of dollars. Simple as that. Take the video for what it is. Hit me up. You know my number, 239-784-1118 if you're going to be real about it, and we'll talk.